you know? Till he yells at me, I'm going nowhere. He finished speaking, multitude dispersed. He turned to Peter and said, let's go fishing. Peter's been up all night, right? He washed his nets. Now Jesus says, let's put him back in the salty water. And if I'm Peter, I'm thinking, easy for you to say, because we're not going to catch anything. I already know this. And then we're going to go to land. You're going to take off, and guess what I'm going to have to do again before I can go to sleep? Wash the nets, you know? Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch. And did you see Jesus is smiling and Peter just like, what? Can you read Peter's response? Master, we've toiled all night. That's not a coincidence. You know what he's telling Jesus? He's going, look, you might be an amazing carpenter, but, I mean, no offense, I'm a fisherman. And this isn't recreation for us. This isn't a pole and an ice chest and a boom box and a lawn chair. Like, this is work. And we worked all night. And those of us who know what we're doing, and we caught nothing. That's what he's saying to Jesus. Do you know it's okay to talk to Jesus like that? I don't know where Christians got the idea that we have to clean up what we feel and how we react before we can take it to Jesus. He knows everything about you. He knows how arrogant and selfish and lustful we all are. And he loves us. He wants to hear who we are and where we are and what we think and all of it. And let me tell you this. Jesus isn't want to do a little recreational fishing trip. And even though Peter might be thinking that Jesus would get out of the boat and leave him, Jesus would never get out of the boat and leave Peter to work. Never. Would never do that to him. He isn't playing around. He's challenging Peter to trust him. He's challenging Peter to trust him when what Jesus says makes no sense at all. He's challenging him to trust him. And look at what Peter says. Nevertheless, makes no sense. I already know you're wrong. Nevertheless, because you said it, I'll do it. I'll do it. And if I got to wash these nets all by myself, just being able to hear you for these last hours, it's all worth it. Here's another thing I want to say to you. I think, those of us that are pastors, we can use a passage like this and, Jesus is challenging you. And listen, very, very important. Remember context. Jesus asked him at a very appropriate moment. He didn't come up to Peter after getting skunked all night while washing his nets and say, let me throw your nets back in the water. When did he ask Peter? After Peter had sat and heard him speak for we don't even know how long a period. Peter sat there. He just rowed the boat out, dropped the anchor, and sat and just was washed by the water of the words of Jesus. We can't be light about this, can we? Because when we understand verse 1, we understand how powerful and amazing the words of Jesus really are. So this is what I want to say to you. Jesus isn't here today to challenge you. He isn't. Why do we love so much to take everything about Jesus and make it about us? I got to be stronger, and I got to be more dedicated. And listen, you just sit down and listen to him talk. How about that? How about you just draw near to him and ask him to speak to you? Because once he has washed you with his word, then you might hear him say, launch out into the deep. Let's all remember, Peter isn't the most submitted fellow who's ever walked the face of the planet, right? Those of us who've read the gospel stories, it's not like he said this to, one of the guys whose names we don't even remember. Who would just, like the two guys where he said, go into the other village and steal me a donkey. Remember that? Before the triumphal entry? It's not like it's one of those guys. It's Peter. And if Peter hadn't sat at the word of Jesus, I don't think he would have ever done it. Jesus didn't ask him 1 minute before the right time. And does Jesus want to challenge you? Does he want to challenge me? Absolutely. But he is not some taskmaster. He is not some crazy coach who just wants to challenge you, and if you can't hack it, he'll push you to the side and we'll put somebody else in your spot. No. he wants to wash you with who he is, with his word, with his love for you. And when he's doing that to you, then come the challenges. And we're able to say with Peter, Jesus, that doesn't make any sense, but because you said it, I'll do it. Some of